that.
Oh, yeah, dude. Got to help them get through that 1.5 kilos. Got to swallow my carrot.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Australian Division 2 Nationals here in wonderful Wollongong. My name is Daniel Clinton and I'm joined by Max Denstrom here on the microphone today. Max, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. What an exciting tournament ahead.
We were talking a little bit earlier. We got the weather update from the Bureau of Meteorology, and the verdict was 40 km/h winds.
Yeah, and look, we've already seen the effects of that on the field. It's just going to be rough going. I think it's going to be a bit of a slog for both teams trying to string passes together and maintain possession.
Oh, here goes Jangles. He's going to send it. It's actually a very, very good throw. They're in the red zone here on Mammoth. They're very close. They've gone a long way very quickly, and that is just the wind again taking part. There's a foul call on the play. We'll see the first action for Steve Baker and Lucy Alexander, our wonderful game advisors here for the game. Steve's heading over there. It looks like it's an uncontested foul call, so it will be Mammoth's disc here on the end zone line.
That was Alan the Kid who caught that nice huck, making some meters for Mammoth, but I'm then not able to connect with Alexi Villas, who's just on the doorstep now.
It looks like Manly, they've switched out of their zone look, and it's going to pop up. It's a score. They're on the board, Mammoth. After we talk all about the wind being a massive factor, a huge huck from Bo Jangles.
Makes it look easy in the end, really. They were struggling to dump and swing, and they said, we'll change it up. We'll go direct. We won't stuff around going sideways. We'll look long, and hey, they make it look easy in the end. Come out of the gate strong, 1-0.
So we mentioned the weather forecast, 40 km/h winds at the moment. According to Hilary Humes, our resident meteorologist, she mentioned that it should drop back to a lazy 30 km/h through the morning. But I think the warm-ups for both teams were very indicative of what they're thinking is coming. Manly warming up 20-metre undercuts. Mammoth, zone offense all the way.
I think that's probably the smart choice. I mean, in conditions like this, it's only a matter of time till one team pulls out some kind of zone or junky look. And being ready for that, I think, is going to be the crucial factor which team can adapt to the conditions. I mean, I don't know how we're going to look for the rest of the weekend, but this morning certainly is going to be dominated by the teams that can handle the wind. And so far, Mammoth looking like they can.
My big question is, how deep do Mammoth run in their throwers? We saw Adam Bowe, massive huck, not worried at all by what would almost be classed as the beginnings of a tropical cyclone. But can the rest of their lineup throw? Manly, certainly with a lot of experienced players, they shouldn't have as much difficulty. Oh, there we go. O'Brien's going to air it out. It's 2v1. It's going to sit. It's sitting a long time. He climbs. And the block is, well, Linenforth is actually down. He looks a bit stiff there, a bit sore.
Yeah, very unhappy by the look of it, clutching his left knee. He'd done a good job of cleaning up the scraps. And in conditions like this, that could be something we see a fair bit of, discs floating away at the last second and the players coming through behind.
Fairly serious knee injury. He is in a world of hurt right now. He may have done something fairly serious. Looked kind of innocuous the way he went down there. He just kind of fell a little bit awkwardly. It's like something may have gone pop.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it's the ones that do look the most innocuous that end up being, you know, the ACLs and the MCLs, and then they're out for 9, 12 months sometimes. So fingers crossed that's not him.
Rubbing the outside of his leg, which if I remember my anatomy, that's the lateral collateral ligament.
Oh. There you go, fun fact for the morning. If
it's a knee injury, it could be a hamstring. Hamstrings are always an issue for ultimate players.
That's right, he doesn't look like he's going anywhere fast.
No, he is very, very sore. They're trying to signal one of the medicos from the first aid tent.
And this could be a big loss for Manly because this Manly team has got a bunch of young athletes and maybe slightly shorter on the experienced throwers front, and Linforth definitely falls into that category of a more experienced thrower. And in conditions like this, that's going to be absolutely vital. The team that has the throwing skills and experience to get it through the wind.
He is very, very sore coming off the field. That is not a good sign at all for Manly Ultimate. Linforth, of course, long-time Sydney player, played out of the Macquarie University scene. Came through in the same class as Rory O'Connell.
Yeah, he's a bit of a frisbee mercenary in some ways. He's played for Colony, he's played for Bench, now he's here playing for Manly. He's had a taste of all the different clubs in Sydney and shared his skills with all of them, and unfortunately now he's going to take a seat on the sideline and get looked at by the medical team. And
it's going to be interesting to see what happens now with the disc, because he did have a big piece of that, and I'm not sure whether he caught it or not. They were a little bit screened from the play as he went to ground. I dare say the players will resolve what the story is out on the field.
Both our game advisors now departing the field. They were involved, helping clarify the rules, etc., give some perspective and opinions, but looks like substitutes have been made and play will restart with the disc in the hands of Manly. So they're about 3 metres out and they'll look to equalise the scores.
So they're in their single coverage, Mammoth, and Manly on the doorstep. Nice throw, there it is. That's drawstring in the end zone. They level it up 1-1.
1 apiece, and interestingly there, despite Mammoth, as we said in their warm-up, going for the zone warm-up, focusing on playing zone, they didn't actually pull one out there on defense. They were playing single coverage, as you said, which is maybe an interesting choice. I think teams do want to pull out the zones in these conditions and make the other team throw those difficult overheads or the arounds, the difficult break shots. That's where they're going to get their turns, forcing teams to throw back into the wind. And
that throw by Dave O'Brien, if we can get the replay up again, that is just a money throw by a very, very experienced player. He, you know, he is nasty out there, but he made that, you know, that 15-metre throw in the end zone, forehand side, made it look easy, just hit the receiver right in the chest. But that's not easy to do out there at the moment.
No, as we've been saying, 30 to 40K wins. It's coming right to left on your screens and towards the camera. So it's definitely got a bit of a crosswind aspect to it. Hence why I think a zone that traps them on this near sideline could be particularly effective and get a couple of teams into some serious trouble.
So O'Brien is going to pull now for Manly. He's going to go outside in, wise idea, going to pick up the edge, and the wind's going to bring it to this near sideline. It's going to bounce off hands. And there's the throw to the middle of the field. It's contested. Contact on the play. Plays through it. There's the huck. It's outside in. It's going to pop over everyone. The wind catching the edge again. There's the turnover. Manly going to have an opportunity here.
Yeah, and I don't mind that as an option. I think you have to be realistic in conditions like this. Playing possession ultimate just isn't going to work. And sometimes it's a case of saying, well, look, if we're going to give them the disc somewhere, it might as well be down the other end where they have to work at the full 60, 70 yards before they score, rather than give them a short field turnover that allows them an easy 2-pass offense. And it does look like they've opted for the huck and zone as well. They're setting up a pommy defense by the look of it.
Yeah, the 1-3-2-1, very, very common in Australian Ultimate. O'Brien breaks the cup. Nice throw there. He gets this back, bit of 50% offense. He says go. He really doesn't want to play around with this. He's going to go hammer to the break side. It's going to blade over in the wind. Hard throw to make there. Now with Mammoth, they're going to have to work against the zone as Manly do transition. Bo looks off. They're working, and there's a throwaway. This is some more of the ultimate that we were expecting to see, isn't it, Max? Oh, O'Brien, he's going to stick it. It's very low. Mammoth get the block. This is some of what we were expecting, isn't it? High turnovers, lots of zone.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers. Not exactly what you call champagne ultimate. As you can see, players just really struggling to connect with 5-6 metre passes that, generally speaking, would be absolutely regulation, and they can't connect with them here.
Caleb Hudson there with the bright blue hair, just completely airballing that one, missing everything. O'Brien, he's looking for that deep shot again. He's going to go inside out. The wind catches it at Mammoth again. They get the block, they get it back, and we're back playing offense. Adam Bowe, scuba in the wind. No fear from the man, and there's a turnover again. O'Brien's going to pick it up, and he's going to look again. He's going to move it sideways. Manly, zone offense again. There's a nice throw around the cup. That is the low side of the field, though, this near side, and it falls to the turf, bouncing off hands.
Yeah, that's right. It's always going to be tempting to throw it to this sideline, and defenses are going to let you do that all day long. But as a hammer, in these conditions, you have to resist that temptation, because once you're trapped on this sideline, it is bad news Bears, and the turnover is a pass away.
Bad news Bears indeed is the call. Jangles, nice centering throw there. Around the cup they go. Mammoth working it nicely. They're in the red zone now. That's Hudson. Looks for Bo. Oh, and he scored. He threaded that through there, did Hudson. That's 2-1.
Yeah, that was a nice passage of play in the end, and we saw that they got it to the high side of the field and then were able to string passes together coming back towards this the near sideline where the breeze is blowing towards. In the end, very nice play. Good adaptation from the Mammoth players, whereas Manly was literally just looking for the one shot and hope options pretty regularly.
Dave O'Brien clearly having one idea and one idea only for their offense. Let's get it down the other end of the field and just see what happens. Mammoth, a little bit more clinical, which is surprising because on average, Mammoth, the much younger team.
Oh, without a doubt. As we said, there's players like Dave O'Brien, Roger Thompson on this Manly team. I'm not sure their exact ages, but I wouldn't be surprised if on the Mammoth side of things, they barely have a couple of players.
I did see Ian McCarricker is registered for Sublime, so those men aren't going to get the title of Old Man of the Sea. Not with Ian showing up to the tournament, but they're close to it. They've been around for a long time, played a lot of tournaments. Roger Thompson, of course, from England.
Yeah, he founded the Clapham Club, the well-known club. I think he's got 8 or 9 UK Nationals titles, so you know that's a pretty impressive feat, one that not many people can say they've got. And we'll see if he can bring that experience in throwing to this line as they play offense.
So, interesting pull. And Mammoth, they bring the zone. There's Thompson with the disc there, looking down the field. And there's not really much happening. They're coming to the low side, though. I question the wisdom of this zone offense from Manly. Mammoth doing a pretty good job clamping down, and the disc is coming to the low side. That's inside out, and that's in the crowd. Mammoth going to get this disc.
Yeah, it's always going to be tough when you're shooting deep from the near sideline. It's just never going to stay in. It's an incredibly difficult throw. What they want to do, get the disc onto the high side of the field. That's the far side from where we're sitting, and then look to shoot from there. They'll have a much bigger margin for error.
So here we go, Mammoth now, offense. This is Alex Sims, gifted thrower. He in the warm-up, he looked pretty good. Didn't seem overly worried by the breeze, and as I say that, I put the mocker on him.
Commentators curse immediately, say someone's throwing well, and they'll throw it away for you.
But the good news is, this is the coffin corner down here, low side, downwind. There's a lot of work to do here for Manly, and they've had no answers thus far on their zone offense. Max, what would you like to see from them in their zone offense that might give them a little bit more success.
Oh, well, not that, unfortunately. It really is a question about being disciplined as the handlers, treating the high side almost as where you're trying to get the disc. Everything's going to be easier when you're working from that high side, and everything from this low side in the wind is just going to be so difficult. As you see another one pop back up as they throw into the wind.
Sims with a beard. He wants it, the young man. There's the jack. It's a good looking throw. Drawstrings under it. He's going to rise up. He's got it. He has an opportunity now. Do Manly get it? They're calling it in. What a play.
2 apiece. That was a lovely shot. Just as I'd said how difficult it is to shoot from this low side, Manly says we're up to the challenge and launch a lovely backhand outside in. You can see here that his mark sags off, giving him plenty of space to wind up and shoot deep. And in the end, very well read in tough conditions. We've seen a bunch pop up and be misread by receivers. That one, cool as a cucumber.
Wowee. So this is shaping up to be a bit of a game, Max. It's hard to predict these games. It always is, because yes, the wind is going to play a massive factor. And yes, we've got two very different sides. Mammoth, a lot of youth. Manly, a lot of experience. It's hard to predict what's going to happen next.
It is, and I think that's often the case with windy matches. It throws a bit of an X factor into every game. You can't predict how they're going to play out. You can't just look at a team list and say, oh, player for player, this team's better, or player for player, this team maybe is not as strong. It makes a really exciting viewing, because you just can't predict how it's going to go, and there's often so much possibility for a lucky drop or an unlucky drop, a lucky catch, something bobbling up, something sitting, whatever. So I think in some ways we're really lucky that we've got a game like this. It's going to prove to be really exciting.
Oh, nice throw through the cup. It's a good pull by Dave O'Brien, putting the disc in the low side of the field. Hudson comes down the field, and after a very big meterage gainer, all of a sudden, Mammoth, they're caught on the low side of the field, and they're struggling to get out of here, and, well, there's an outside in. The deep picks it up, and that's a turn. O'Brien's going to go back with it, with Michael Cummings as the dub. Looks like there is a call.
Looks like an injury call by Dominic Collins, which is never a good time. He's been known to make some aggressive plays, but here it looks like he's copped a hand to the face and the follow-through from that big outside in backhand, and he'll come off and be replaced.
So the turnover should stand. The injury having no impact on the play, unless there's a foul call. Sorting it out now. The game advisors are not involved. Yep, so O'Brien comes near side to Cummings. Cummings goes inside out with the lefty. It looks pretty good. And it's a nice grab in the end zone. Manly at 3-2 now. Cummings with a bomb.
Yeah, that's a lovely shot by Cummings. And it shows you the advantage of having a powerful left-handed thrower on a team. In crosswind conditions, often they'll be forcing you to throw the flick. Cummings there had the backhand and able to serve it up on a platter for his receiver in the end zone, who does a good job of it in the end, taking a high one above his head.
He took a lot of contact there to make the play. See a beautiful inside out, just sits up in the breeze. And yeah, there's the play. Good position on the disc.
Yeah, gets his body in front. Boxes out strong, Jack Birch. He's a fine young player out of Manly.
Front position, Max. It's a very important concept, I think, for all you young kids tuning out into the live stream. If you're ever playing, front position is where you want to be. Make them make the play. Make them go over you.
Yeah, that's right. Often it feels a little bit, it can be daunting to try and take that front position, because you know that if you miss time and you go up early, you're going to look like a bit of a goose. But as you said, you've got to make the other team make that play. If they want the disc, they've got to go up and over you to get it. Make them work for it. And in conditions like this, you've really got to force them to do that, because it's going to be difficult.
Manly now are defense. We hear through game audio. What's your offside? O'Brien goes with the forehand.
Wow.
Oh, he's zinged that. And that has landed inbounds by the looks of it. That is a hell of a pull. That's gone 80, 90 metres on the fly.
That is a very impressive throw in conditions like this. We've seen people struggle to throw backhands half as far, and he just rips a flick length of the field.
Hudson goes to the far side, the high side of the field. Hudson, bit of 50% offense, goes to Scuba, does the lefty. Trying to work it through the cup. They're coming to the low side though. This could be trouble for the Manly zone offense. And there's a lot of bodies around the disc. Mammoth trying to work it out. Nice grab there. They go to the middle of the field. He's a little bit stuck. He's calling a foul.
Yeah, Alexi Vialis with the big hair, running around doing a good job trying to generate movement and provide resets, but it's all sideways and backwards at the moment, nothing forward.
Seems like Mammoth is somewhat lost in their zone offense. They don't really have a concept of what they're trying to do. There's a little bit of a break. They find the edge and then go through the zone into the middle space. They're still working down this low side. Hudson, nice throw into the middle of the field. Gets it back. I think the secret for Mammoth is definitely going to be get the disc in Hudson's hands. He's very confident and he's throwing some nice throws. There's another nice throw around the wing of O'Brien. Hudson now in a great spot down the field. They're in the red zone, middle of the field, throw through the cup. There's a lot of space through there. The breeze has dropped off, and there is Rowe in the corner. Yeah, they're going to count that one as in.
That's 3 apiece, and that was, I want to give a big shout out to Alan Kidd at that point. He got a couple of really decisive through the cup passes onto his chest, and then he threw that nice one down the far sideline. He's been doing a lot of work for this Mammoth team, and he's one of the youngest guys on it, so credit to him. He's been picked to play for Australia at the World Junior Championships later in the year, so he's clearly on the radar of some of the elite development prospects in the future. So keep an eye out for Alan Kidd.
Sumin Rowe, the scorer in the end, the man who catches the goal here. He also had a big part in that. Lots and lots of passes working in and around the cup. So Mammoth, their defense now, and Manly, they're on offense. Out of what you've seen here early, Max, is there any adjustments you'd like to see Manly make?
Look, to be honest, Dan, I feel like they're on the right track. And in games like this, it's a case of committing to your process, being willing for it to be ugly. You know, they can't go out onto the field and expect to play Champagne Ultimate. It's just not the conditions for it. And against a team as athletic as this one, they're not going to be able to do it. They've got to be willing to play grindy. They've got to be willing to have a bit of a dogfight on the field and continue taking those shots, because that's how they're going to find success. They've got old guys with throws. Let's see them use it.
Here we go, O'Brien, and this is a little bit of a different look, a clan of all things. And there's Cummings, he's going to go inside out. This one's going to sail though. Catches the edge, and that's out of bounds. So Mammoth will get the turn off a bit of more of a hybrid zone look.
Yeah, it looked a bit more containy, didn't it? Looking to slow up the Manly offense, maybe try and disrupt that early huck play, which is what they've been opting for.
Is that a Canberra term?
Containy.
Containy?
Yeah, look, it's
more of a containy zone.
It's a technical term. I think you'll find it in the scientific frisbee dictionary.
Okay, Jangles, low side. Cummins gets his hands up, redeems himself. And now we're playing a bit of positional ultimate. Collins off to the right hand. O'Brien cannot connect with his receiver. Sims picks it up, looks immediately, but that wall is very, very close and very, very tight. And there's Adam Bowe again with the disc. He's going to sail. It's sitting. Thompson, the big man in the pack.
Looks like there's been a foul call.
Bit aggrieved by the looks of it. Looks like he's saying, you caught me on my way up. And I'm not sure about this. We see Lucy Alexander in the background, game advisor. She'll help out with the rules knowledge. What was your view on that one?
Get another look at it here.
I mean, he crushed him a little bit.
From this perspective, it looks like Roger Thompson goes up early and goes up pretty vertically. And he's entitled to the space above him as per the rules. And I think, to be fair, the contact that did occur was relatively incidental. Obviously, it's hard to say from where we're sitting, and we can't see from the players' perspective. They are absolutely beautiful. I've got to say, Much better than anything I'm used to back in Canberra.
Not only are they flat, there's actually grass on them as well, so we're spoiled here, really. And we're very thankful for Wollongong for having us for the weekend. And it's going to be Michael Cummings. He's going to be pulling for Manly. That lefty backhand, bit of an interesting pull. It's going to sit in Mammoth. Hudson, lefty as well, pumps it. He's pointing and he's saying, look, I want you to get some meters here. Rowe with the disc. There's a call on the field. Looks like it was downfield. A foul of some description, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Something happening in the backfield there. I was focusing on the disc movement.
Just the way the Manly player was kind of grabbing his face. It might have been a stray elbow or something. So the disc will return to Hudson on the high side of the field. I wonder what was going through his brain when he decided to dye his hair blue.
Yeah, look, I've got to say, if his on-field decision-making is anything like his hair choice decision-making, there's a lot to worry about. I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with the blue. It's bold. It's definitely bold, but looks like the players are shouting that Alan Kidd may have been out when he caught that disc.
Yeah, the call was coming in from the sideline. It did look like his foot was on the line. He's got to put the disc on the ground.
And it will now be a Manly disc. They're about half field, probably about 20, 25 metres to work it. Cummings picking up.
He goes outside in, backhand. This is absolute swill. And it's going to come down in no one's hands, so Mammoth will get it back.
But crucially, they'll get it back down their end of the field, and they'll have to work at the full 70 yards again. That's been Manly's strategy all game long, and they're sticking to it, and that's what I want to see. They don't have the players or the personnel to play possession ultimate in this game. I mean, not many teams at this tournament will at Division 2. So I think this aggressive style, Huck and D, is going to pay dividends. Especially
with giving the experienced players like Cummins, O'Brien, Thompson, the opportunity to play in that zone defense role as opposed to a single coverage where they can play the space, be a little bit wily, use their experience and
run a little less.
Hey, you said it, I didn't. Mammoth, they're in a world of hurt right now. They're a long way in this corner and well, it's Hudson now. He's going to have to do something here. There's a throw in the middle of the field. It will pop up. We're in Callahan country. Hudson gets it back. This is good from Mammoth. There's the huck. It's outside in. The deep's lost. But luckily, the wind helps him out and kills the disc in midair. Yeah, look, if there's literally one place on this field that I would prefer least to have the disc, it'd be right where they were. Deep in their end zone, downwind corner. It's a tough spot to be in and end up just having a huck and a hope. Harry Macefield with the disc, otherwise known as drawstring. Macefield, nice throw there. Mammoth, oh, and an uncharacteristic drop. Cummins just offhand, spending it before he had earned it. Hudson pumps it, he lets it out. It's gonna sit, more swill. And there's a nice contest. Oh, and he nearly comes down with it. There might be a call here. It didn't look like much in it to me. He had to bat it away a couple of times because it bobbled back up in the wind. It's going to be an uncontested foul. Wow, there you go. Note for young players, catch your Ds. Yeah. Murray Goebel actually making, nearly making it against two. Yeah, okay, maybe on the left-hand side, bit of contact. Ooh. The Frisbee gods intervene, however, and it's Macefield. He's going to unleash an ugly right-hand flick that dies. Rowe kills the disc for Mammoth. And now Manly going to go into their zone. Rowe goes fast through the cup. Mammoth. They've got possession again. They're on the high side. Hudson near the brick mark. Oh, beautiful throw through the cup there again on the high side of the field. This is where we've seen a lot of success come from, is that far side of the field. Yeah, it's definitely the place to take your shots from. Most of the shots that have been coming from this side, the near side,
have been the ones that have got blocked, and it's the ones coming from the other side where there's just a little bit more ability to be accurate.
Oh, nice throw there, Hudson. And that is an acre of space.
Bobbles that one off the chest.
At this stage, I can't even. Cummins goes fast. Macefield again. He's going to have another opportunity. He's airing it out. I'm not sure it's a great idea, but hell, it's going to sit for an age. There's a pack. They're all there, and he's got it. He's got it. Manly, they go up the break. It's 5-3.
I said at the start of the game, discs are going to hang, they're going to float, they're going to be misread, and it'll be often the person sitting out the back ready to clean up the scraps that will be rewarded. And we saw it right there. Elliot Peake read it like a book, unlike everybody else in that huge pack that formed underneath it.
That was a god-awful throw by Macefield. It sat up there for seconds. It was up there in an eternity. You see, people are just jogging. The guy at the back, he was at 20%, just trotting and still manages to get to the contest.
It sat up so long, I'm pretty sure he came from halfway down the field to get involved in that.
He didn't get out of a jog the entire way and still got there. That's phenomenal. And Manly, they're up the break. And it could be crucial here at 5-3. We're closing in on halftime, Max. In terms of the story of the game, could this be the turning point where Manly maybe win it?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, in conditions like this, we've seen how long a single point can go for. Getting up an early break, having a 2-point lead at this stage in the game, you know, obviously we're not playing soccer, but parking the bus is a legitimate strategy in conditions like this. And some of these old wily guys that lead this Manly team, I wouldn't put it past them to recognise the position they're in now and try and slow this game down.
So Adam Bowe goes middle of the field. It's going to pop up. O'Brien doesn't make the play. It comes down in Mammoth's hands. That is phenomenal there. And the wind is certainly making things interesting at the moment. Adam Bowe, big throw. It's going to catch an edge, though. This is going to sit up. It's going to be in the middle of the field. It's going to die. Everyone misreads it, including yours truly. And O'Brien is going to pick it up for Manly. And immediately the forehand force is on. Perhaps restricting him a little bit. And there's a pretty good looking throw. It's going to float, though. Adam Bowe gets a block. Elects not to send it back to O'Brien. There's a player loose in the end zone in the moment that they can't reach him. And Adam Bowe with the disc in the hands and the backwards visor. Nice throw in the middle of the field. Mammoth with a little bit of continuation. Adam Bowe getting the disc. Great play by him. Getting the disc out of his inexperienced players and back in his hands. Looks to break, goes through the cup with a throw that nearly falls to the ground.
What do we think of the backwards visor?
Not a fan, but I mean, we'll let his ultimate do the talking, I think, in that regard. I don't think that was a goal, but anyway, they're going to call it as in.
Credit to him there. He got every second pass up the field, really just taking over, controlling the tempo, controlling the pace at that point, and changing up the aggressive options. He didn't look to huck, willing to throw 20 or 30, 5-6 metre passes, and was rewarded in the end with a lovely goal.
It looked like this guy caught it. No, maybe?
Does a good job to jump that one back in, I think.
I retract my call. So retracting the call is a thing nowadays, which is great. We're going to head to a break here, show some ads. Manly have called a timeout, and we'll be back with the conclusion of this first half.
1, 2, 3, done. Felix, Dave, Harry.
He came up to me. Yeah, whatever. We'll see.
But what a game. I was worried arriving here, losing my hat half a dozen times to the very strong breeze. I was worried that we were going to see not much. But so far, both Manly and Mammoth have shown up, and they've been fairly intelligent about how they've approached this game, Max.
This wind has just started to ease off in the last couple of minutes. So I think we're going to see potentially more good quality ultimate. I think that we've had some good stuff this morning so far in difficult conditions. And as I speak, the wind picks back up again, of course. But I'm looking forward to the rest of this game. The rest of this first half will be crucial in determining who can take it away.
Seems like the teams have also sensed the change. And Mammoth are going to run a man defense. They're going to go single coverage across the field, and no, they're running that hybrid containing zone. Oh, there's a hug. O'Brien airs it out. That's 2v1. Adam Bowe's in the area. He goes up too early, but he gets it on the second time round.
Look, they can try to contain O'Brien, but frankly, he's too good to be stopped. And he just wants that huck, and he'll just keep taking it all day.
Manly, they're going to stick with the zone here. Rowe doing a great job, as he has all morning. Speaking of good job, Hudson and Bowe combining. Thompson.
Oh, that is a beautiful throw. That is a buttery backhand down the high side of the field. In difficult conditions, I cannot understate just how wonderful that throw was. That was really lovely.
Or overstate, indeed. Adam Bowe. Buttery indeed. Too much of that and you'll end up with diabetes.
Served it up on a platter, 2 hands out in front of his intended receiver. We've seen people throw swill and pie all day long, and he just puts on a masterclass.
Which we must say isn't really their fault.
It's tricky conditions. I know that obviously from Manly and Sydney, maybe used to this coastal conditions. We're about 20, 30 metres from the beach as we sit here. It's just over there behind us. And these Manly lads would be used to that kind of onshore breeze.
Well, indeed, we're only, 2.5 hours from Manly itself. So we're really not far away from their hometown or their home field.
The Mammoth guys from Brisbane, obviously having come a little bit further, flown down yesterday. We've got teams from all over the country at this tournament. We've got 40 teams and well over 700 players. I don't have this confirmed, but it could well be the largest tournament outside of some worlds that have been hosted here, but it could well be the largest tournament in Australia.
O'Brien's going to air this out. It's not going to get read very well at all by Cameron Jewell. Kind of lost the disc a little bit. And Mammoth, they get it back, and an opportunity to go up a break here. If they can work the length of the field. Bowe comes near sideline. Gets it back. They're on the low side of the field. Whilst the wind is dying down, there's the huck. He goes outside in. Jewell underneath it, has the opportunity to redeem himself, and does. No call there.
You see the importance of front body position again, especially throwing from this side of the field. The disc is just going to die. It's rarely going to sit up and pop over. So being in front, very important.
Nice grab there by Collins. O'Brien looking. And it is that containing zone again for Mammoth. It's a little bit man and a little bit zone.
There's no containing Cummins though. He slices through it. Absolutely no problems.
And this is the threat of this Manly Ultimate team, the wily veterans. Collins can't grab that one. It just goes to the ground. And Mammoth, their opportunity again. Their second opportunity at the point. Adam Bowe's going to pick this up for the Queensland team. Nice throw in the middle of the field. Good movement thus far. Collins in the mark for Manly. Nice crash there to cut off that popping.
Oh, I love that scuba over the top. That's a tricky throw back into the teeth of the breeze.
Adam Bowe's just thrown it straight to Jewel again. Hangs his head. He really not what he wanted there. Cummins going to pick it up for Manly. Oh, nice throw into Macefield. Macefield, of course, the handkerchief, the joggers.
It's an interesting style choice, and for a player as experienced as him, I'm surprised to see no cleats, but you know, it's clearly working for him. And if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Cummins getting a life there. Macefield having a large part of this offense. They're holding it on the high side of the field. Clearly the impact of the experienced players. Cummins gestures. He wants it very close and in the cup. O'Brien's going to get it, middle of the field. That big forehand. He waves, he points, he wants it in the back. Cummins again. He's getting a life here. This looked like it was up from where I'm sitting.
Either way, it's a good effort to get down to that disc. Definitely not the intended landing spot for that pass. And it looks like the turnover will stand and Mammoth will get the disc.
Yeah, Macefield puts that on the ground. Okay. It looked like a catch from here, but admittedly, we're, what, 50, 60 metres away from the play, so not the best view in the world. And as I am an accredited soccer referee, I have been called blind many, many times. Adam Bowe comes low side.
As much as I do love spirit of the game and the self-refereed nature of Frisbee, the fine art of heckling a referee is something I do miss in Ultimate.
Personally, I don't. O'Brien, he's going to air it out. It's outside in. Adam Bowe. Oh, he's missed it. He's missed everything. It's gone straight through his fingers and ended up in a Manly score after many possessions both ways.
And again, we see the one pop over, misread, and it's the person trailing the play that ends up catching the goal. There's been plenty of cleaning up the scraps this game, and I think we'll see plenty more of it. It's a real lesson for players out there. You just can't give up on it.
And again, we see it throw from the high side. Adam Bowe is in a good spot. He just, not quite the legs. You see him caught a little bit short and come down pretty fast. Very vicious outside in that picked up the edge and the wind, giving that a lot of velocity.
Yeah, Bowe and Collins in a bit of a duel, and then both not quite able to catch onto it, and it went straight into the breadbasket of the teammate.
We actually have the score wrong at the moment. It should be 6-5 to Manly. We'll correct that in a moment. And for some reason, Steve Baker is on the field. There's only 7 players out there, so it's not because they can't count.
We did hear them earlier talking about offsides. Perhaps there's a concern that they haven't quite been consistently behind the line when the pull went up, as O'Brien launches one of his trademark forehand pulls.
Proves quite difficult to handle. Rowe with the disc goes back to Hudson. Oh my word. It's popped up and over everyone. O'Brien gets the scraps and points quickly, goes the middle of the field to Cummins. Cummins outside in to the far side. He's aired and out, and that's too far. All of a sudden, the breeze isn't there to help.
Yeah, it's almost like that throw was anticipating the crossfield breeze to turn that disc over and bring it back in.
They just kept going.
There was just no wind there for him. They're changeable conditions, making it tough.
Rowe finds Hudson, who that short range forehand, and there's the score. Manly, they go up a break again. That's 7-5 now, and maybe a timeout call for Mammoth.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah,
I like that. They've just given up a couple in a row. Manly extending that lead and setting themselves up nicely to take half. Mammoth will need to regroup, find an answer.
That's not half, that's only 7-5.
It's true, they're on the doorstep of taking half. Mammoth recognising how important it can be to take half.
Stick with me, Max. Stick with me, mate. We'll make...
That's a nice throw from O'Brien. The little high release backhand pops it over the top into space for his receiver.
And I want to come back to that short range throw from Rowe, forehand. In that situation, I much prefer the lefty backhand. You know, when you're trying to throw that short range to the forehand side, lefty backhand, much easier to complete there. We saw that throw, it just popped up. And Hudson had a hell of a lot of work to do. It did hit him in the arm, but hard to really find where that disc was.
Lefty backhands have become a whole lot more popular just in the last few years of Ultimate, and it's for that exact reason. Forehands often aren't that reliable and are pretty difficult over very short distances, you know, that 1, 2, 3 kind of meter range. And the lefty backhand really isn't that difficult over that kind of distance. And players of this quality and who train as much as these guys do can put that in their arsenal, and it really opens up some extra options, especially in tricky conditions like this, where you want to get as much spin as you can on every pass, so it can stay stable in the breezy conditions.
Well, we're going to duck out to a quick ad here, and we'll be back with potentially the last point in the first half.
House party win!
Well, Manly, 7-5, they're up. The opportunity here to take half. Is it crucial that they take half at this point, Max? Or can they afford to give this point away and then just take it the next point?
I wouldn't say that if they don't score this, they don't win the game. But what I would say is if Mammoth don't score this, it's probably just a little bit too far. If Manly's able to break and take half 8-5, I'm not convinced that they can come back. And Manly will recognise that and say, let's put the nail in the coffin right now. They have an opportunity. They've managed to get some breaks before. But that is how you don't want to start a point when you're really trying to get a break. Dave O'Brien's pull flying out the sideline, getting caught in the wind, and that'll be a brick as they set up their three-man cup defense.
Yeah, a bit of a wrinkle, a variation. We've seen a bit of pommy, a bit of that Containey hybrid clam. And now an old school 3-3-1 with a short deep and a deep deep. Looking to potentially get more people in the backfield, but immediately it doesn't work. Mammoth off to the races. Adam Bowe with the disc. He throws in the middle of the field. This is a great spot for Mammoth to be. They could potentially find themselves with a very nice, easy, quick, and straightforward score. Jaguars, Hudson has been playing well thus far. And there's the score.
That may well be the first single possession point we've had all game. No turns, no desperation hucks, no pack grabs,
no wind,
and not a whole lot of wind, and they took advantage of it and scored pretty cleanly, to be honest. That's a very nice point. Showed some patience when they needed to, showed some aggression when they needed to. And Mammoth bring it back within one. Obviously, Manly now will play offense to take half, but I think that 2-point gap, that's striking distance for these Mammoth players.
All right, Max, you're the D captain here for Mammoth. What do you call? Do you go single coverage and try and jam it down their throat, or do you go back to the zone?
I mean, obviously the zone's been effective for them. They've got a whole load of turns on it. But I do think that you have to keep switching it up. You have to be proactive. You can't wait for the other team to start to beat you before you change up. I wouldn't mind a change to a single coverage look, or even if they've got another zone. You want to keep the other team guessing. And with players like Cummings and Thompson on the line, you know that they've got the throwing power to get it down the other end of the field. So maybe a single coverage with a man off the back would be my call. Have the deepest in the stack look to help deep.
Rightio. We're about to see the pull. Cummins is going to catch that one. Roger Thompson with the disc. Macefield goes through the cup. Nice throw. And Manly. Could we see 2 single possession points in a row?
Well, Mammoth definitely wasn't listening to me about defense. They've gone back for the zone, gone back for more. And we may have just had 2 single possession points.
That's phenomenal, and that's halftime. That's 8-5. And Manly are in the lead in this game. We're going to take a quick break here at halftime, and we'll be back with the second half, this conclusion of this initial round robin play, pool play.
Pool play.
From the Opens side of this Division 2 for 2018. Well, halftime has been run, done and won. We're back for the second half of this pool play action. Mammoth of Queensland against Manly Ultimate, of course, of New South Wales.
I just checked in with our Bureau of Meteorology correspondent.
Special liaison.
Special liaison. And we can report back, in case you hadn't noticed, the wind has dropped significantly to just a really light breeze. And we saw how that's changed the play in the last couple of points of the first half. Both teams able to string together some single possession offenses. And the question for the second half is which team can continue to do that?
That's an ouchie. I think a pick may be called. The disc has gone down, however. So I'm not sure what happened there. I was kind of watching the throw and missed the contact down the field.
It is an injury call, so a sub will be made. And speaking of injuries, we've got a little update on Nathan Linforth, who went down earlier in the game. The medicos have been over, checked him out, can report back that it wasn't really anything major. He's been pretty soft.
Faking it.
No, he's hyperextended his left knee, apparently. He's hoping to get back later today and will do his best, but, you know, playing it game by game. No promises.
Hyperextended knee could be anything. Meniscus damage, PCL.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Hopefully he's all right.
Fingers crossed it's not a ligament tear, because that's always a long recovery period. Oh, that's a nice scuba over the top. These calmer conditions are allowing a lot more adventurous throwing from both teams.
Is it time to pack in the zone, though? Because neither, well, Mammoth are having no issues right now. They're working it down the field. And hammer.
Oh, that's a lovely throw. Crossfield hammer. And that throw would just not have been possible about 15 minutes ago. The conditions die down, and like a hot knife through butter, Mammoth goes end to end. Brings it back to 8-7. They're within one. Game on.
With the conditions now swinging around so violently and changing such a great deal, does this give an advantage to one team or the other, do you think?
It gives an advantage to the team that's most able to adapt, who's got the most tricks in their bag, the most tools in their kit. And I would suspect that a team like Manly, with that added experience compared to Mammoth, might be the ones best able to do that. You know, they'll have played a whole myriad of different zones over the course of their careers. Guys like Cummings and Thompson have played many, many years of Ultimate, and I'm just not sure if that's the case for these Mammoth lads. They're obviously a lot younger, a lot fresher. They bring a lot of athleticism, and maybe you'd say they can out-athlete Manly, but when it comes to being able to adapt to different styles, I'm just not sure if their experience is quite what the Manly team is.
Are there any real repercussions as to a loss here, game one, day one?
No, is the short answer, as long as you win everything else in your pool. So, you know, we've got a pool system here. You want to be finishing first if you can, because that books you a ticket straight into quarters. If you finish second or third in your pool, you have to fight your way into quarters, but obviously the possibility is still there. So one loss isn't going to put you out of contention by any means, but you still obviously want to get every win that you can on the board to put yourself into an easier matchup to get yourself that spot in the bracket play.
We'll see that containing zone again for Mammoth. Thompson, that big frame, he covers the disc well. Cummins is going to get it on the far side of the field. O'Brien being covered fairly loosely, and they're not really having much issue, Manly. They're moving the disc nicely and finding some good movement, resetting the stall, and, well, it's all happening now.
Very easy goal in the end against single coverage. Mammoth have transitioned back, recognising that the zone wasn't going to be effective now that the wind's died off, and forcing Manly to adapt, which they do really well. No problems at all. Hit the unders all the way out the field. No tricky shots, no high-pressure situations. And they put one on the board.
In terms of single coverage, though, that was some soft single coverage. There's separation all over the field.
I'm not sure what their plan was, if they were trying to stop the unders or the deeps, but they definitely weren't slowing down Manly at all. I think you'd probably want to say, put the emphasis on stopping the unders right now, show that they can make those difficult shots. We've seen in the wind earlier in the game, a lot of the shots sat up, and so we haven't seen proof that they're able to throw really nice hucks that just go to chest of their intended receivers and not turn into contests. So if I was Mammoth, I'd say stop the unders, make them take the tricky shots. We've got the athletes on this team to get involved, to make it a 2-on-1 situation, and trust yourself and back yourself to make the defensive plays.
Guys, this is huge! Elliot, this is huge!
Looks like Dominic Collins is set to pull for Manly. Oh, absolutely superb throw. Sat up the whole way, served it up on a platter for his receiver.
The receiver couldn't have read that any worse.
And he still caught it on his chest in acres of space. I mean, credit to him. That is a throw and a half in a game like this. I do have to say the Manly guys choosing to play a vertical offense at that point, whereas Mammoth going for the horizontal. And Manly finding a lot more success, leaving much bigger spaces for them to throw those cross-field hucks into. So you see it again, the receiver had almost turned to come back under. Still has time to turn around, run deep, and then in the end, very regulation catch on his chest, acres of space, all the time in the world. That is an absolutely beautiful throw from Cummings. Throws it, shows his class.
That's a mixed ultimate throw, that is. That is just, you know, putting the disc on a spot that only your receiver can get to, and your receiver can get to fairly easily. You know, he couldn't have read that any worse, could the receiver. And damn, what a throw. And well, that puts them up another break. 10-7 is the score, and Manly looking the goods. 13 minutes until time cap, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe you're right.
So 80-minute time slots. And Mammoth, they have it all to do. Here in the second half, they really haven't looked the goods. They've struggled to really move and transition.
But they do come down in vertical here. They've changed their match offense, their single coverage offense. And he looks inside with the backhand. That's an aggressive shot, and I want to see them keep taking their aggressive shots. They just need to complete them.
Sims should be running this offense. He doesn't get it. The receiver doesn't throw him the disc back. Oh, and there's a nice looking break, but it sits up the big bit, and he brings it down. The second effort.
Alexi Villas doesn't quite get up on the first one, but redeems himself with the sideways layout. It's a great second effort.
It's been a game about the second effort. It's been the one most willing to work, the one most willing to stick with it. That throw, it sits up. The big bid coming through by the young man, but second effort, Max gets the score, and Mammoth.
And maybe that's the athletic edge that I was talking about for this Mammoth team. They're able to not only contest the first effort, but they have the athleticism to make the play on the second time round, and they come down with the disc and they come down with the goal. Alexi Villas, one of the most athletic guys out there on the field. He's played a fair chunk of ultimate in his time, played with QUT, the Queensland University of Technology, at university games a number of times, and where he's been a real leader on that team. And I think Mammoth here will need him to step up and be a leader on this team if they want to pull this game back. They're now within 2. There's plenty of work to be done if they want to get a couple more breaks against this pretty clinical Manly team. Since we've switched to single coverage and the wind has died down, Manly have looked pretty unfazed by the Mammoth defense a lot of the time.
Hudson going to pull for Mammoth. Goes with the spinning. And looks like that's out of bounds. So O'Brien's going to signal for the brick.
I think he's actually signaling sideline. It might have gone out quite early up the field. And when they're in need of 2 breaks, giving a team as good as Manly only half a field to work
and
is
the
really
throwers that Manly possess.
really puts them in the red zone from the first pass.
Yeah, it will be a sideline call, so they're just figuring out where it went out. It's only a little bit more of an advantage. I'd only say another 5 or 10 metres past the brick mark. Oh, O'Brien, he doesn't care. It's going to result in a contest. And he's...
It's a nice bid, but a bit of a misread, to be honest. Both going a little short, and then it sailed over their heads.
Hudson's going to stick it. He's airing it out. Thompson with a big frame. He's there, but the young man goes up in front. Front position again. Hudson's going to get the reset. No, he's not. Mammoth working down the field. They're in the red zone now. Hudson's going to get it back finally. And there's the throw, but it's not any good at all. Just too far and too low.
And where Manly's going to bring the disc in now is where Mammoth would have liked them to be catching the pull. So they were given a lifeline by O'Brien earlier in the point with a throw that went too far.
Oh, Cummins with a bit of day 5 cutting on day 1, getting that disc underneath. Lots and lots of space. Huge meters for Manly down the stretch. There's the reset. O'Brien catches an awkward one and then sticks it. It's another floater. Oh, a bit of a box out with the arm, and he makes the play.
What a snag with the left hand. Plenty of contact both before and after the catch.
Yeah, I don't think that young man is an ultimate player because there was a very big elbow before the disc got there. We'll see here on the replay. We'll see if we catch it. O'Brien sticking it. This is up. There it is there. See the elbow, the big shove by the 18.
Yeah, Birch, maybe a bit of an AFL background or something. And that's a lovely take in the end and really just lands on top of the Mammoth player.
It's going to stay as a score, so he'll get away with that one. And
credit to him. I mean, the push-off's a little interesting, but that left-handed snag is not an easy catch to make.
I think we've missed a point there. He's managed to get his foot down in bounds. Can we see that again? He has made a great play at the back of the end zone, managing to get his foot in bounds.
It's not easy to do, to be focusing on, you know, where the defenders are, where the disc's coming in, getting up, timing your jump, and to still be aware of where the back of the end zone is. I mean, it's a pretty heads-up play by him, showing experience and wisdom beyond his years.
Yeah, body control. Well, O'Brien's going to pull, and we're at 73 minutes, so last couple of points in this game.
Manly taking that last one to take the score to 11. They're just a few points away. It's a race to 15 or time cap, whichever comes first, of course. And O'Brien showing that he can pull forehand and backhand.
What a man, he can do everything. What a guy. Hudson to Rowe. These two have combined a lot on offense for Mammoth. They've had a pretty good game. Mammoth go high side. Oh, nice bid there underneath. And he points and he throws
Flubs it completely. I don't know if he had some grease on his fingers or just let go of the disc before it finished.
He just ate popcorn. It was popcorn. Oh, and O'Brien's going to show him how it's done. But it's 2v1 down the stretch. It's 2v2. Jewel goes up massive!
In the middle of the pack. And the quick dishy pass, and it's a score. Well done, Jewel.
Oh, my word. He's a big unit, but he climbs up there. David O'Brien again with another great throw. Cameron Jewel. Look at him go. Front position again. And Dominic Collins gets in there and just provides the finish. Wow. All of a sudden, Manly are just hitting the gas and disappearing in a cloud of smoke.
I'm surprised to say it, but it feels like on the morning of day one, that Mammoth is almost short on gas and short on legs at this point in the tournament. Seems surprising, especially against a team like Manly with a combined age well into the...
Of 103.
Yeah, well into the hundreds. That they're able to outrun a young team like Mammoth, but that's just what it looks like at this point. They're just working harder and they're being rewarded by it, and we've got a timeout call.
So we'll be back after a quick ad, and we'll take a quick drink, and we'll see the conclusion of this match very, very shortly.
House party win! Work it! Work it! He's free! One more, man, over here!
Quick timeout call, probably a good option to take, considering the state and the story of the game.
For the first time this match, Manly called their line, called a bit of a power line, sensing that if they can get a break here, it really just puts this game beyond question. Likewise, Mammoth will recognise the significance and really be working hard.
Hudson with the disc, comes down the line. Mammoth, not with a real clear offensive idea at the moment. There's a lot of clogging, and Hudson does get the reset, but it's kind of a nothing reset. Doesn't really open any angles for the offense. Throws a very nice break, but falls to turf. Just trying to do too much is Hudson. And O'Brien is going to go pick it up. And immediately he's got three players heading for the end zone. Oh, what a grab. That is a very, very nice grab. And there is O'Brien unleashing a hammer. Oh my word. Jack Birch.
He's been their main target all game long, and you can see why. Unfortunately, he can't pull that one in, but he's an athletic guy, and he's a big body as well.
He's got to be 6'2" in the old. He probably weighs about 80, 85, 90 kilos. He's an athlete, clearly. Probably an AFL background, considering the shove earlier. That's another turn. Manly going to get this one back. O'Brien's going to pick it up again. And he points, and he goes fat side. We haven't seen much. Jewel is in the area. Can he bring it in? It's blocked.
Absolutely no hesitation from O'Brien. There hasn't been all game long, and he doesn't hesitate now.
That's Murray Goble again in the action.
O'Brien recognises that on this team, his job is to take shots. They're not all going to connect, but he's just got to keep shooting. Shooter's going to shoot, as they say.
Well, with athletes like Jewel and Birch catching for you, I think Jewel looks about 6'3", and yeah, Birch is about 6'2", so pretty good targets to be throwing to. We see a soft turn, Mammoth cough it up, and this is the third opportunity for Dave O'Brien. He hasn't thrown an underpass yet at this point, and he may get it this time. Nice under, and there's an open score. The defense just goes completely missing.
Leaves the defenders 13. Looking like garden gnomes.
Garden gnomes indeed.
And that's 13-8. This Manly club, I mean, it's a pretty impressive history. It's actually one of the oldest clubs in Australia that's been continuously sending teams. They sent their first team to a Nationals back in '02. So 16 years in the making. You know, they've missed the odd year here and there. It hasn't been continuous. Some years it's been a women's team, some years it's been a men's, some years it's been both. But they're still pumping out teams playing at the highest level, which is a pretty impressive feat. And it looks like we've got the game advisors mic'd up now. And we may be able to hear something, maybe not. We will be trying to get that audio later on in our broadcast schedule. Do stick around, we're casting games all weekend long here from lovely Wollongong. We've got 4 more today, and then we've got 4 tomorrow, and 4 on Sunday, culminating in the 2 finals. So lots of high quality, fun ultimate to watch.
We did hear the time cap hooter in the background, so that means that we will finish this point, and then we'll add one.
We've actually got a minute to go because there was an injury stoppage earlier, so there's an extra 1 minute.
Aha, and there we go, Steve Baker popping in with a timely comment. That is just awesome. So we have an extra minute to play yet. So potentially, maybe we'll see a couple of extra points. Mammoth, middle of the field. Bo, high side, comes back to the middle. That's Dusty with the disc. Slamtown alumni.
A late arrival this morning, wasn't here at the start of the game. Let's see if he's arrived in time to save this one for them. Dusty Chock, very experienced player.
Great dude to have. Oh, Bo. Adam Bo unleashes a laser into the end zone. That's a score.
Interestingly, at that point, Manly went back to their zone. And obviously, they weren't rewarded in the end, and Mammoth made quick work of it. But I don't mind that as a look. You know, it keeps the other team guessing. I was saying before, be proactive about it. You know, they've got a 4-point buffer, or a 3-point buffer now, I should say. And it makes the other team react to them. It keeps them on the back foot, keeps the ball in their court. So I like that as a choice by Manly, even though they weren't rewarded. And of course, Bo does a lovely job in the end to finish it off with that forehand. A laser onto the chest.
This is Alexi Villas. He's going to be pulling again for Mammoth. He's had a lot of the pulling duties on defense between him and Hudson.
So the time cap went just a few seconds after that goal was scored. So this is the finish the point, and then we'll add one if necessary.
Thank you, Steve Baker.
Head game advisor for this match. It's outstanding to really listen in on the official side of the game. And he's also going to give us a bit of perspective as well from the conversations that happen on the field. We'll get to hear, if there happens to be a rules discussion, we'll get in on that via Steve Baker and Lucy Alexander, the other game advisor, who is on the far side of the field.
So if Manly score this one, we're a game to 15, as we would be anyway. Whereas if Mammoth manage to break here, it'll be a game to 14.
That one's going to be out. So O'Brien's going to sigil for the brick mark. And that is going to be very, very interesting for this Mammoth defense. O'Brien has just been unleashing bombs all day long. It's going to be a man defense as well. Single coverage, the call. Do they force one way or do they go straight up here?
I think they need to go straight up. O'Brien has been launching missiles all game long. And with players like Jewel on the field, you know they've got targets that he likes to throw deep to. So
O'Brien, Matt mixing it up, throwing it under. That's Jewel with the disc. There's a pick in the stack. Good play, he's caught. Always catch the picks.
If the disc is in the air and you're on the field, catch it. It's that simple, if you can. Don't worry about calls, don't worry about stoppages, just go catch the frisbee, then you can have a chat.
O'Brien, strong undercut, and then sticks it. He airs it out. It's pretty deep in the end zone. It's going to sail. That is out.
Just a touch too much juice on that one. He's not short on power, especially with his forehand.
It's a good problem to have, isn't it? Throwing the disc too far.
It's not a problem that I often have to deal with, unfortunately, but O'Brien, very capable thrower. Many years of experience.
Adam Bowe working up with the disc for Mammoth. Again, single coverage the call. Alexi Villas goes under. The poacher's there. Jewel playing off the front of the stack. Big throw over into the open space. There's an under. Oh, and the throw goes out. It's a bit wobbly and it pops up. It's still in the field. Nobody there to clean up on the scraps. O'Brien picks it up and says, go! And there's a play. Jewel in the area. He's the big man. Does what he needs to do. He catches it, brings it down. And that makes it 14-9.
Jewel easily the tallest player in that contest by a good 4 or 5 inches. O'Brien realised that when he picked up the disc.
And Suman Rowe, he did his best. He climbed up there. He got in front position, but giving up a good foot to his to the other player is always problematic.
And it looks like the players are on the field just figuring out what the deal is with the time cap. Steve Baker, as we heard earlier, will clarify the situation for them. So it'll now be a game to 15. And Manly in the driver's seat, really.
Well, ever since that late first half into the second half run, where they just stepped on the gas and really put the hurting on the Mammoth O-line.
Yeah, straight out of half, they went 3 in a row. And I think that was really the point in time where the momentum shifted and Mammoth slipped behind. They weren't able to deal with the calmer conditions, surprisingly. When it was really windy early on in the game in the first half, it was neck and neck the whole way. They were trading backwards and forwards. When the wind died off and there was more scope for players like O'Brien and Cummings and their powerful throwing to come into play in just single coverage situations, Manly pulled away.
Collins is going to... There was 2 whistles there. What does 2 whistles mean, Max?
The whistles are a guide for the players in terms of how long they have between points. So there's 1 whistle, then there's 2 whistles, and then finally there's 3 whistles.
Villas is airing it out, but he's whaled that way too far.
Yeah, he caught that disc and then just FedExed it out the back of the end zone. Well too far. I mean, I like the aggressive option. Clearly got some throwing chops on him, but hunts that one a good 8-10 metres out the back.
He nearly threw the sticker off the disc. He unleashed that so hard. Collins goes inside. It's Macefield. Looks off the deep to go under instead. Manly now with an opportunity. They're working against single coverage, which has been the order of the second half. The bid is there, but the catch is not. And the turnover results. Adam Bowe will pick it up for Mammoth.
JP, you get this.
Hudson back to provide the reset. Adam Bowe is going to stick it, and instead it's Alexi Villas. He's underneath it. Results in a turnover.
Villas is quick, but he's not tall, and that one sat up and allowed players to gather underneath it. Not what you want to throw when you're throwing to a player like Villas. You want to put it out in front, so his pace can mean that height isn't a factor.
Interestingly for Manly, it seems like a young line. There is none of the elder statesmen out there at the moment.
No Thompson, no Cummings.
No O'Brien. It's all the young heads out there. Adam Bowe with the disc. He's going to reset to Hudson. The Dominator movement, but that is a very, very swilly throw. That's Dominic Collins getting a block by the looks. Was that Jack Birch?
I think it was Birch doing his job, being the big man that he is.
Macefield. He's complete miscommunication between him and Birch, and then the throw down the far side of the field. That is money. Mammoth bring it to 14-10.
They're not done yet. There's still something left. They're not willing to roll over, but they've got a serious mountain to climb if they want to come away with the game. Looks like Manly will put some of their old heads back on as Thompson walks towards the line, saying, let's just get this job done. Put this one in the record books. Rest up. There's plenty of games today. There's 5 in each pool, I believe, so you've got to play the full round robin. Plenty of field time, and they want to maximise the rest in between if they can. That really was a lovely throw, as we see.
Pretty good throw, really. You'd be happy with that. If that was you would be, you'd go and sit down after that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, get a few high fives, sit back, relax.
Walk straight off the field.
Say, did you get that on the stream? Because I looked awesome. And he did right there.
Max, you mentioned earlier we're streaming here all weekend. The next game that we're going to be covering is, I believe, Surge v Extinction.
It is indeed. We were originally going to be streaming Valkyrie from Adelaide against Chaos from Perth, but unfortunately we had some cancellations on the flights at the last minute that meant some of our Adelaide players have been unable to get to the tournament yet. They're currently en route, but we've had to have a fiddle with the schedules. Dusty Zock!
He's just popped out of nowhere. He read that like a book. He knew what was happening before Manly did. And he's got a block, and Mammoth all of a sudden are going to turn it back over.
Dave O'Brien says if one old man can get a block, another one can too.
See, the players starting to congregate as well. See, we're a long way over time cap now. This game has stretched out a bit. We started a bit late. And there was a couple of turns in the last point. Oh, nice defense there. Manly have forced them to... Mammoth have forced Manly to cough up the disc. Villas with the disc. Goes to Sims. Alex Sims throws that out of bounds.
No, Alexi Villas! Does a great job.
How is that in?
Of keeping that in the field. He's happy with that one. Bit of a cheeky grin.
There's no way that was in. I thought Sims had whaled that out of bounds and it was gone for all money, but it's perfect.
Very small channel that he throws into.
Yeah, there's small channels and then there's that.
And he just gets the right toe down, just inside the back line. Does a great job to keep it in. And Mammoth have just gone 2 in a row, and it looks like a timeout's going to be called. The momentum shifting. Manly not able to put this one in the record books quite yet. They've had a couple of opportunities, but Mammoth have lifted their game.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. This game, all of a sudden, there's a sting in the tail, and there's a story to be written here.
House party win! Ballarat just won on the far field, apparently.
against Ironbark, one of the Ironbark teams. Interesting. That probably shouldn't have happened.
Definitely an upset. On paper, you would have said they were the underdogs, so credit to them. One of the great things about Div 2 Nats, a lot of teams that don't often match up against each other do get that opportunity.
Oh, Hudson's got a piece of that, so it's going to sit, and it's not going to go as far as it needs to. Mammoth are going to get the turn. Hudson, after that great defensive play, gets the disc, and there's a huck going the other way. Macefield, Adam Bowe walks it in. He's walking it in. It's 14-12, and this game is not over yet.
Here comes Mammoth. They are not done yet. A couple of points ago, I was just thinking, oh yeah, this one's done. Manly's going to keep punching them in as clinical as they have all game long. But Mammoth have just found another level. I was saying they looked tired before, but they found extra legs. They found a little more spring in their step. They're starting to make the plays on defense, and that's what makes the difference, putting a little bit more pressure on players like O'Brien. Getting a fingertip there, great effort by Hudson. On the huck, means that they get the turn, and then they're able to move it quickly downfield, and in the end, a lovely shot to Bowe in the end zone.
Little bit disappointed Harry Macefield didn't leave his feet there. He'd done all the hard work. He'd done the hard yards, was there, had an opportunity to bid, elects not to.
May live to regret that one.
It could be a massive, massive problem. Mammoth, as I said, 12-14. And is it possible? Can they do this?
Never say never, Dan. Never say never. I mean, my money is still on Manly. They've got a couple points lead still. They're going to have plenty of opportunities with the disc in their hands. And, you know, I just got to put faith in O'Brien and Thompson. And then players like Birch and Jewell. Yeah, look at this line here for Manly. They've got Birch and Jewell on the field, their two biggest targets, and O'Brien's walking it up slowly to the end zone, up to the brick mark. There is one place this disc is going, and it is in the end zone, and it is to one of those two receivers, probably both of them, in a pack grab.
Dusty Zock is 10 yards off the back of the pack. With pick call straight away. Dominic Collins is actually out there as well, so very athletic line.
We're getting the nice front double bicep position from Dominic Collins, showing us that it's a pick. Hand signals, very useful for spectators and commentators alike.
Oh, violation, the V, the flying V. Oh, and Birch goes. There it is. He's going to put it up to Birch. Birch hasn't read it very well, but he's pretty big. He's not got it.
Great second effort. He definitely was out of position, not where he wanted to be, and almost had the athleticism to make up for it. This guy is really bursting onto the scene. I've never seen him play until this game, and he's definitely going to leave a mark in my memory for some seriously athletic plays and a massive threat in the end zone.
If he just knew how to read the disc, he'd have half a dozen goals in this game. Nice throw, far side. Mammoth go fast. There's a travel call. No, there's a pick. So all of a sudden, after a pretty clean game, there's quite a few calls, slowing the tempo down. Mammoth have the disc though, and the opportunity to bring this to 14-13.
I am shaking my head in disbelief.
What do Mammoth need to do here to get this done?
I don't think there's a simple answer as O'Brien tumbles to the turf.
He's holding his knee. Hopefully he's okay. Looks like just a stinger. Bit of contact there with Alexi Villas. Okay, reset. Hudson had a good first half, went off the boil a little bit in the second half. Lots of turnovers. Hopefully he can reel that back in and get the job done for his team. He's going to get the reset here. Elects not to throw the around. Looks for the reset. Mammoth, not really with much. The hammer is there though. Dusty working the space under Birch. Alexi Villas goes fast in the middle of the field. Thompson cuts it off with a little bit of a bump there on the mark. The inside out throw to Villas. They've brought it to 14-13.
The dream is alive.
The dream lives on. Are we going to see potentially one of the greatest comebacks in the first time slot on day one?
Wow, this game is setting the bar for high-octane, high-stakes drama here at Div 2 Nationals in lovely Wollongong. Mammoth, having come from, they were down 12-8, and they're now 14-13. Can Manly pull it together? They looked so clinical this second half. They were just unstoppable with their connections from Cummings and O'Brien looking deep to Jewell and Birch. We've got an identical line to the previous point for Manly. They've said these are the 7 players that we believe can get the job done on offense.
So we hear the hooter going and going, and that is
officially the start of the next game. This one extending well over time cap as the Mammoth comeback train is full steam ahead right now. Manly look a little lost.
What does this do to Manly if they lose this game?
Oh, it's a massive blow to their
confidence. Is their tournament just done?
Massive blow to their confidence. You'd think with old heads like they have, they'd be able to recover, but, you know, it hurts to have a big lead and to have it taken away. It really puts a doubt in the back of the mind for the rest of the weekend.
Cummins, Macefield looking for O'Brien. He's thrown it into a lot of space. My word.
That was a bit of a miscue, I think. They may have got lucky there.
O'Brien goes down the field, and there it is. That was the look they've been looking for the last 4 points. Manly eventually take this game 15-13. That's it. We're done. We're out. We'll see you in the next one.
TV.